Set. One of the pinholes was punched through. So what you want to do is first remove any of the crystal that's in the area where it's going to get in your way. Now what we're going to start by doing is removing the bottom junction cover. We're going to find the two wires that come out of the hickey and go up to the socket. There's going to be a black one and a white one. Of course, make sure the power's off. We're going to cut those two wires, and later on we'll splice them back together. Now, using a 14mm wrench, a 9/16 also works. We want to remove this hickey. It's been screwed on very tight. It's also turning. So, okay, now I got it broken free. The wires will just freely twist. We remove the hickey. Now the scroll assembly comes out. Again, remove as much of the crystal as you think you need to do to avoid any damage. Make sure and put something under in case any crystal falls off. Now, what we're going to have to do is remove this pipe. We'll back out the nut that goes on the top. Goes on the top of this crossbar there. Loosen this. Slide the parts off, keeping them in order so we know that they go back together. So at this point, once you loosen that, you should be able to just unscrew the socket rather than doing the nut all the way down. Okay, so we take the socket out. There's a cup with a nut in there, which we need to remove. Take the washer out. And there's a nut in there we need to remove. Take the scroll off, replace it with the new scroll, and then just reverse the process. There are some spacers in here, so we want those to go back the same way they came out. At this point, to make sure that the socket locks on good, let's go ahead and back this nut down so we can work with the socket easier. We're going to install a socket. Now you can use the wrench to tighten that. It's best to grip the socket with a pair of pliers and make sure you get it snugged on tight so that it won't come off. Okay. Again, snug all these nuts down. They're nice and tight. And then we'll just reverse the assembly.
Oh, he called you on that? I don't know. I know how it is, but I can't stand the phone. When I see it on my phone, I go. Went to the emergency room back in January.
Okay, now we're ready to reinstall it. Okay, one thing I forgot was there was a nut on here. Just going to sit against the top of the Okay, so what we're going to want to do is eyeball this nut here and put it so that it just touches, see, too high. So I'll screw it in a couple turns. Probably still too high. Another couple turns. Still too high. Couple more turns.
Perfect.
Okay, that's pretty good right there. So now when we put the hickey on, that will lock down against the crossbar, which locks down against the lock nut, and everything will be nice and tight. And wrench tighten this. Doesn't have to be overly tight because it's not really providing any frame structural support. Okay, we'll want to strip these wires. Get wire strippers. Danny?
Yes. Them harness, no. No.
Huh?
No.
You didn't bring them?
No.
Okay, we'll do it the hard way then. Of course, real wire strippers work better than dikes. We'll send a couple of wire connectors, of course, black to black and white to white. If I had strippers, I would have stripped them a little longer. We'll supply some smaller wire caps on Danny. Pause it.
Go.
Okay, we'll send the smaller wire caps. I said it's best to strip them a little longer than I did. Of course, after you've made the connections, light up the fixture, test it, make sure there's no loose or frayed wires, make sure your caps are tight. Reinstall the junction cover, making sure not to pinch any of these wires. The one I didn't strip down was loose. If you wanted to replace these whole connections, you could, but you got to maintain the polarity, so keep track of which ones are white and which ones are black. It's awfully hard to tell. Feeling the ridged and the smooth wires. So I think even though you got short wires here, it's easier just to clip these okay. Tuck them all up in there nicely. Then make sure there's no wires pinched in the cap. Like, kind of spin it around, make sure. Reconnect it. Again, before putting the crystal back on, light the fixture, test it again, retrim the fixture, and you're done.